Hey, welcome back to Exploit Security. I am your host, Scott Anderson, and today we're going to be doing a dive into some more Capture the Flag challenges. Now, what I really like about Capture the Flag is it helps build upon those required skills and that critical thinking pattern needed to be successful as a penetration tester and just as a cybersecurity professional in general. So if you do like the content, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. Hey, what is going on, everyone, and welcome to Exploit Security. I am your host, Scott Anderson, and today we are going to be jumping into OverTheWire Leviathan. So if OverTheWire does sound familiar to you, I have a few other games on my channel as well, both Bandit and the Start of Nada, so be sure to check those out as well. Great content, and you can learn a lot from running through some of these challenges. Now, before we do jump into Leviathan, I do just want to do a quick heads up. This video will be solution based, which means that it is going to show the answer and how to reach that answer. So if you haven't tried already, please do try to find the solution on your own. Google is a hacker and cybersecurity professional's best friend. So be sure to use Google and see if you can find that solution just through some research from what you're seeing and what you're experiencing as you work your way through the challenge. With that being said, completely understand that sometimes you just get a little bit stuck and sometimes you just want to see the answer so you can learn from watching. And that's kind of what this video and this series is geared towards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So what is Leviathan? Leviathan is a beginner-friendly wargame, and it's designed to teach basic Linux and security concepts through practical challenges. It consists of 8 levels, each requiring players to find the password for the next level by exploring the system, utilizing common Unix commands. You really don't have to have any programming knowledge, so it's great for newcomers, great for beginners stepping into it. If you have done Bandit or you've already done Nadas, I would say Leviathan is a little bit higher in difficulty than the previous two. But there are some similarities shared across them, especially Bandit. Leviathan is going to be more similar to Bandit than it is to Nadas. Nadas is based around a web application. Leviathan is going to be kind of the same style with a slightly harder difficulty when looking at Bandit. So if you haven't done Bandit yet, strongly encourage you to start with Bandit. So the same thing as always, for Leviathan, we are going to log into SSH. And SSH or Secure Shell is basically just a networking protocol. By default, it runs on port 22. If you're looking at the page right now, you can see in the top left corner, it does provide that host information, and it also provides the port of 2223. So I'm going to just go ahead and flip over to my CLI so that we can log in. And you can see here, I have my terminal pulled up. I'm just going to go ahead and paste in that command. And of course, it's saying SSH, so we're just calling the protocol. You can see Leviathan 0, which is the level or the user in this case that we're trying to access. And then you can see the host. So in this case, we are using a host name. Other cases, you can also use a IP address as well. And then right there, we are flagging port 2223. We can just go ahead and hit enter. And then from there, as far as the password goes, so for the start of Leviathan, it is going to be Leviathan 0. As you start to progress through the levels, that password is going to be a little bit of a variable. It's going to be the flag that you have to discover in order to progress to that next level. So in this case, I'm just going to type in Leviathan 0. Don't be alarmed if you don't see anything appearing on the screen. It's for security and privacy. It definitely is receiving input. You should be able to go ahead and hit enter. If I typed it incorrectly, it should connect. And it looks like I did not type it incorrectly. So let's give that a shot again. I probably forgot the A. I've been doing that. All right, and we are in. So the first thing I just like to do, I just like to clear out the terminal. I don't know why, it's just a force of habit that I do. And then from there, we're going to start looking around. So everything that we are trying to do for the Leviathan challenge is going to be very, very similar to Bandit. We shouldn't have to go past the home directory. We will find out as we proceed through the next levels, but they tend to try to silo it a little bit so you're not having to dig all around the machine. I believe that's because they are using the same server to run all of the various challenges like Bandit, Not Us, and Leviathan. So they're trying to silo it up a bit for security, just so you're not doing scope creep outside. And then, of course, the one thing that I always like to do is just kind of start taking a look around. So you can do, of course, the who am I, right? You can do if config, just get some networking information. But what I really want to do is I'm going to do ls, and then I'm going to do tac la. And ls is just a basic command for listing files in directories. The L for that LA stands for long format. It's just going to show everything in just the long format, which includes things like number of links, owner, group, size, etc. And then the A, that's going to list all hidden files, right? So some files can be hidden with a dot, which you'll see very quickly. And right off the bat, you can see that dot backup directory is hidden there. So if you haven't explored a Linux machine before, bash logout, bash rc, and profile are going to be some things that you're going to see relatively, they're going to be common across the machines, right, as files. So for the purpose of this, we're not going to really dive into those. We don't have to for this challenge, and I don't want this video to end up going, 20, 30 minutes as we're diving into everything. But there are going to come times where we may review that during other challenges, and when that comes, then we'll just review it from there. But you can see in this case that there is a dot backup. It is a directory. So what we are going to do is we're just going to do cd, which is change directory, and we're going to do that dot backup. You should be able to hit tab to autocomplete and then hit enter. You can do pwd for print working directory just to see your location. As you can see, we are in the home directory of Leviathan 0 in that dot backup subdirectory. From there, we're just going to do lsla again, and we're going to take a look around. And right off the bat, we can see that there is a bookmarks.html. We do have read capability over it. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to do cat bookmark, tab to autocomplete, and hit enter. And you can see right off the bat, there's just, it's a lot, right? Having to read through this entire thing is going to be a complete nightmare. But let's assume we're in the right place, right? Let's assume we are looking in the correct spot, and this is where we're either going to find the next hint or we're going to find the answer to the problem, right? You certainly could start from top to bottom. You could run things like more or less just to kind of help clean up the view a little bit, right? There's a lot of things you can do to read through it, but we really don't want to do that. So let's try to see if we can just do some keyword searching and see if we can find the answer. So I'm just going to do clear. And then I am going to do cat bookmark.html. And then I'm going to do a pipe. And what that essentially means is when I run cat bookmarks.html, it's going to take the standard output, right? You have the standard input, the standard output, and the standard error when it comes to a Linux machine. I encourage you to just Google those terms, do a little bit of reading on them. It will make a lot more sense when you do. But in this case, we are taking that output from bookmarks.html, and then we're just going to push it into another command. So the command that I want to run is going to be grep. How would I explain grep? You can kind of think of it as like a find, right? A control F or command F if you're a Mac user when you're using Chrome or you're going through a document on, Google Drive or a Microsoft Word document, right? It's that control F, command F. It's a search feature. And it's a built-in command line utility, so it comes with every Linux machine. So we're just going to go ahead and try to use that. So we'll just type in grep. And then let's say we are looking for the password, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a quotation, password, and then let's just hit enter, see what happens. Right off the bat, you can see that we get that line, and you can see that it is pointing at the password for Leviathan 1, 3QJ, so on and so forth. So this could be a false flag. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that password. Another thing, you want to make sure you're taking note of these when you're running through it, right? So let's say you pick up Leviathan 0 today and tomorrow you want to go access Leviathan 1. You want to make sure you have the password so you don't have to work your way through that challenge again. I have a bad habit of forgetting to document the password when I'm doing challenges and videos like these, just because I'm trying to keep the content as short as possible so you're not watching a 20 or 30-minute video. So make sure you're just adding it to a notepad, writing it down so that when it's time to pick up the next level, you can just start from there and you don't have to work your way back to forward. So in this case, I like to exit. I like to just press up. And then all we essentially have to do is just replace that Leviathan 0. And we're just going to replace that 0 with 1. And basically what we're doing now is we're trying to do a SSH connection to user Leviathan 1, which also kind of works as that level as well. And then again, we're just going to point it at that host name. And then the port is port 2223. And that's pretty consistent across the board for all 8 levels. The only thing that should really be changing is that username. So let's go ahead and hit enter. It's going to prompt us for that password. So what we want to do right off the bat is we can just paste in that password. You can definitely type it in, but I have a really bad habit of fat fingering it. So I just like to paste where possible. So Control V if you are a Windows user, Command V if you are a Mac user, and then we'll hit enter. Also remember, before I hit enter, you're not going to see the password displayed on the page. Don't forget that. I know a lot of new people stepping into it tend to kind of freak out because they don't see the text display. Nothing to worry about. It is receiving input. And there you have it. So we have now gained access to Leviathan 1, and we can essentially pick it up from there. So I'm going to go ahead and call this video to a close. I like to try to keep the videos right about 10 minutes. I don't want to exceed past that, but you will definitely be able to check out Leviathan 1 in my next video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, if you have not already, check out my content for Hack This Site, Defend the Web, OverTheWire Bandit, which I absolutely love. It's great beginner. It teaches you the exact same thing you're doing now, but more at a basic level. And then OverTheWire Nodus is awesome. It's really geared towards web application. Same with Defend the Web. So really great sources, really great content. Make sure you check that out. Also, if you have any questions, please make sure to leave a comment below. And if there's any other CTFs you do want to see in action, let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to put something together so that you guys can enjoy that content as well. Other than that, thank you for joining me on Exploit Security. I'm your host, Scott Anderson, and I'll catch you in the next one.